Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna show you some traps in some people's games. Okay, let's start with the first trap. White begins with e4, with e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3. White is going for the 3 knights opening. We have g6 preparing to bring the bishop to the long diagonal. White plays d4, striking in the center. With e takes d4, and white doesn't take back. White plays knight d5. With bishop g7, defending the pawn, and bishop g5, attacking the queen. Knight g to e7. This is a mistake. It would be better if black blocked with the c6 knight. But let's get back into the game. Knight g to e7. Knight takes d4. It looks like that white is sacrificing a piece. But if knight takes d4, then bishop takes e7 and the queen is trapped. So in the game, bishop takes d4 is played, and now queen takes d4. You cannot take the queen, or else it's just a mate in 2. But that was what was played in the game. Knight takes d4, and now knight f6 check, king f8, and bishop h6 check. These two pieces are great pieces that are covering the king's escape square. So let's move on to the second example. So white starts with e4 and e6. This is known as the French defense. We have d4 taking the center and d5 striking back. We have knight c3 defending the pawn and takes, and knight d7. Well, you might ask why black didn't play knight to c6, the more active knight move. Because now black wants to play knight g to f6. So when white takes, black can reinforce with the other knight, not with the queen. So knight f3, white develops another piece. We have knight g to f6 as planned, knight f to g5, and bishop d7, preparing to castle kingside. We have knight takes f7, king takes f7, knight g5 check. The king can only go to g8. If it goes to f8, then knight takes e6 will win the queen. If the king goes to e8, knight takes e6 is trapping the queen. So in the game, black played king g8, but knight takes e6. Apparently the best move for black here is bishop to b4 check, but black played the wrong move. Black played queen to e8. Now you might think knight takes c7 should be winning. That's what white played. But then there was a forced mate in 1. Can you spot it? Okay, after knight takes c7, there's a forced mate in 1, and that is bishop to b4 check. The knight couldn't capture because it is a double check. Let's move on to the third example. Okay, in this position, white starts with e4. We have e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and knight f6. It's the Italian game 2 knights defense. We have d4 immediately striking in the center, takes, and white doesn't bother to take back. White plays castles. White is getting a lot in development, while black still needs some time to develop. Black plays h6 to prevent bishop to g5, pinning the knight to the queen. We have knight h4. This looks very dangerous because after the knight takes e4, the queen also attacks the knight, so there is no more rook to e1. But in the game, that's what black did. He took the free pawn, and now queen h5, threatening mate. The best move for black here was queen to f6, but you might think g6 Why not attack the queen? That is exactly what black played. G6, and now bishop takes f7 check. With king takes f7, and it's a forced mate in 2. Can you spot it? Okay, well, the obvious move is queen takes g6 check, and after king to e7, not taking the knight with check because that isn't checkmate, but rather knight f5, and that is a checkmate. Let's move on to example number 4. In this position, white starts with e4. We have e5, knight f3, d6. This is known as the Philidor defense. We have d4 striking in the center, f5, which is the Philidor counter gambit. We have bishop c4, the best move in the position. E takes d4, e takes f5, and it looks like that the e file is open. So black played queen to e7 check. White, a good move was bishop to e2, but white played king to d2. White's plan is to go rook to e1, but now after g6, now you can see why rook to e1 is losing. It looks like that black is losing the queen, but remember to look for checks, captures, and threats. I'll give you a couple of seconds to win this game for black. Okay, first let's look at captures. Queen takes e1 definitely is not a capture because after queen takes e1 check, black is just losing. So let's look at checks. Well, this is a check, and this is also a check. This is also a check, and this is also a check. But one of them is the right check. Can you spot it? Okay, the correct check is bishop to h6 check, which is really obvious because you don't want to give up your queen. The king has to go up to d3, and now bishop takes f5 check. King takes d4, bishop g7 check. The bishops are cutting off the king's escape square, so king to d5, and now c6 is checkmate. Moving on to example number 5. Okay, in this position, we have Alekhine's defense, which is played after e4, knight f6, with e5 attacking the knight, knight d5, the normal variation, knight f3, d6. Black wants to get rid of this pawn to make some retreat square for the knight. But then bishop to c4 attacking the knight, knight g6, and bishop takes f7 check. King takes f7, knight g5 check, king back to g8. You don't want to go to e8 because then e6 will be crushing. And g6 is not a good square either because it exposes your king more. So king g8, queen f3 threatening mate, queen e8, and now e6, locking down all of black's pieces. We have h6 trying to kick away the knight, but now there's a forced mate in 2. Can you spot it? Well, always looks for check, captures, and threats. What is a check? Well, where is the check? Well, there's only one check, and there's 2 checks in the position. Queen f7 or queen takes f8 check. Well, the obvious check is queen to f7 check, and now after queen takes f7, which is forced, e takes f7 is a beautiful checkmate. Now we're moving on to the last example. This is my favorite example of all. So let's get started. We have e4. Sorry about that. c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4. We have the open Sicilian. Black takes white takes and knight f6 and knight c3. The regular theory with d6, bishop g5, a6. Black is trying to stop all these pieces that are coming to the b5 square. Queen d2, knight d7. Black doesn't want to mess up his pawn structure after bishop takes f6. So queen e2, g6, knight d5, centralizing both knights. f6. It looks like a natural move attacking the bishop, but h6 was better. Can you see why f6 is not a good move? Okay, well, the answer is when Black moved this pawn, Black no longer controlled the e6 square, and now knight to e6 attacking the queen is just winning. Queen to a5, the only move, and now knight d to c7 check. After king f7, you don't take the rook, but always look for checks. Knight d8 check, king g7, knight e8 check, king g8, and now it is a forced mate in 4. You can post this in the comments below, or I will just show you. But it's better if you just pause the video here and just take a guess in the comments. That would be really good for your thinking skills. But bishop c4 check, d5, bishop takes d5 check, queen takes d5, queen takes d5 check, e6, and queen takes e6 is a checkmate. Okay, make sure to like and subscribe. My subscribe goal is 1,000. Make sure we reach that. And that is the end of today's video. Bye.